Good morning, everybody. And how are we doing on this glorious sunny day? My name's Michaela Wade, and I'm the co-founder of Family Law Assistance. We help you represent yourself in family court. We help you navigate the way through that minefield, which is family court. And we do so getting you the results at a fraction of a cost that you pay a solicitor. So with that being said, guys, I've been doing this for like over 15 years. And I know I feel like I age every time I say that. But with that vast amount of years that I've been doing it comes a certain amount of experience, savviness, and knowing what works and knowing what doesn't. So whether you're just doing this on your own, whether you are actually represented in court, these 5 top tips are really going to help you advance your case and just doing yourselves honestly a massive favor. Never mind what the ex is doing, no matter what the ex is saying, no matter what the ex is doing, trust me, there are a bajillion things that you could be doing right here, right now. So I'm here spilling the tea and giving you top 5 things that is going to make your life a hell of a lot easier. So for anybody representing themselves in the case, in no particular order, tip number 1, you are the case. Okay, just acknowledge that. Nobody knows your case quite like you. You know who, what, why, where, when, and how, like that. You are not relying on any third party to get those details right. And yes, absolutely, I have seen lots of barristers and solicitors rock up and perhaps not get children's names right, dates of birth right, ages right, names of their clients right. Oh, heck yes, I've seen it all. So there is a certain power in you knowing your case, knowing the detail of your case. You know how your ex thinks because you were with them for God knows how long. This advantage is key. It helps with the planning. It helps with the strategizing in moving things forward. It'll help you in the negotiating. You'll know what works and what doesn't. You'll know what push and pull things to do and not to do. And then when we're talking in court, you don't have to think about, oh gosh, when was it my child's birthday? When was it that particular incident happened? You'll know it because it's straight away on the tip of your tongue. So that is a huge advantage to your case. Now, I will have a small caveat with that because the flip side of that is knowing what to put in front of the court, because in your mind, it all matters, you know? And so there has to be you need a sanity check, okay? Just FYI in that, you need a sanity check, knowing what is relevant and putting it into the court or not, which brings me to my tip number 2. Tip number 2 is keep it relevant. Nobody cares if your ex shagged half the army. Nobody cares what happened and did you get a conviction. Nobody cares what happens in the past. Nobody cares about that Sun article that you absolutely think you positively have to see the court. Keep it relevant. If you're writing a statement, who are you writing it for? If you're writing a statement, keep it short, succinct. Now, the flip side to this, again, you're going to need the sanity check potentially here. Knowing what's relevant to your court application. If it's a child application, keep it child focused, okay? If it's a finance case, keep it finance related. Keep it relevant. It's all too easy to wander off track. It's all too easy to get sidelined. And people get sidelines in all kinds of ways. Sometimes they sideline themselves. I do it. I sometimes do it in my life. I'll start talking about something and then before I know it, I've started talking about something else. So whether or not it's something you hear in the court and your ex says something and you've just strayed from the path of what you're trying to do and keeping it relevant, or whether you sideline yourself. This is what happens. This is what happens in court all the time. Okay. Tip number 3. Be organized. I cannot stress this enough. I'll never forget, I once had a call with a client and I said, go grab your court order, which is quite a normal thing that I say to people, by the way. And she went, yeah, just a moment. I'm going to get it from my bread bin. I'm sorry, what? Your bread bin. She had all her papers stuffed in her bread bin. And by the time she pulled out said court order, it was dogged, it was coffee stained, it was a bit teared. Could I say half the words? No. So do yourself a favour, whether you're tech savvy or not. If you're tech savvy, get some cloud space. Upload your documents in a PDF format and keep that stuff in chronological order. If you're not tech savvy, and hey, I profess to be of this camp, grab yourself a lever arch folder and stick everything in one place, one lever arch folder. Put everything into chronological order. Okay, tip number 4. Language is important. Now, this is quite a wide-ranging thing, but I'm just going to break it down. When you guys were in a relationship, not once at any point in your relationship did you start referring to your ex as the respondent. Okay? They were either the mother and father of your children, probably so much so you had perhaps not 1 but 2 children with them, and you were together with them for a long time. So one of the advantages you have of representing yourself is that we don't need Latin maxims here in court statement. This is not an episode of Suits, or for the more seniors of us, this is not an episode of Rumpole of the Bailey. So we don't need pontificated language. We don't need language that's irrelevant. Okay, we are not trying to recreate Hollywood or an old BBC drama. Okay, good. Because the advantage you have is keeping it real. Keep it simple. If you can't stand the sight or even the sound of your ex, then either referring them to husband and wife, mother and father. But I prefer for you to refer to your ex by their Christian name. What would you have called them in everyday life? Because there's a powerful message, actually, that comes across when you refer to your ex as just that they're just a person. They're just a person. I know sometimes when I go to court and I'm sort of looking for the ex to have a chat with them, and I often say to my clients, so if I went on the description that my clients give me, I'm wandering around looking for some cartoon character that somehow resembles Cruella de Vil, and then I get to them and actually they seem quite reasonable. So I get it. Keep the language neutral. Rather than calling them an outright liar, that ain't fair, she's lying, he's lying. The facts, this is incorrect. Keep it neutral. Remember who's reading this stuff, okay? Remember that whether it's an email that you're sending, whether it's something that's going in a bundle, whether it's a WhatsApp message that you're sending because you need to pick the kids up late, remember who's watching that, because I guarantee you that any communication can and will be used in the court of law. And the number of expletives that I've had High Court judges, oh yes, read out, sounds really funny. When a High Court judge is reading out a text message, when one party is describing the other party as a see you next Tuesday, okay? Not only does it sound hilarious, but it makes you look like an idiot, okay? So remember in all your communication now, remember who's reading it. I always think my pro tip here is that whatever communication that you're doing at the moment, look at it as if a court judge, him or herself, is reading it. Okay. And then finally, my 5th and final tip. Who remembers the 5 Ps? Yeah. Piss poor planning prevents piss poor performance. Fun fact. 95% of the work is done outside of the courtroom. I know. Hollywood, I know, has a lot to answer for. The glory actually, certainly in family court, the glory actually isn't in the courtroom. I know. The glory is in the planning. It's in the paperwork. It's in the strategizing. It's in the planning, which I know doesn't sound quite so sexy, but is the reality of the situation. So do yourself a favor. Get planning. The number of people that have come to me, they've known about the hearing for the last 3 months, but they've stuck their head in the sand. The view must be quite nice in the sand. And I swear to God, I sometimes call family law assistants as the 4th emergency service, because that hearing that you may have known about for the last 3 months, you sure as hell is going to ring me the day before the hearing asking for help to put stuff together. So get yourself on it. Get yourself a squad together, guys. Okay, you know, if you're going to need planning is super important, and in part of that planning, you're going to need to get your team together. Fun fact: friends and family aren't always the best people to help because they've got your interests at heart. But I sure as hell can guarantee you that they're the people that are going to be with the opinion. The number of times I've been to court and people have rocked up with their posse, I guarantee you 9 times out of 10, I'm kicking them out because it's not helping. It's not helping people in court. It's not helping the situation. Get yourself prepared. Grab the paperwork out the bread bin. I see you. grab your paperwork together. Be organised. Get your team together. So in your team, I would suggest you get somebody who's a sanity check. Now, oops, I'm going to say you're going to need people like us because we've been doing this for so goddamn long. But also make sure that you join a group of people, like a charity, or a group of people who are people going through your situation. Friends and family can only listen to your sob story only a certain amount of time. Hashtag if you know, you know. And they'll try and help, they really will, but very often they've not walked in your shoes. Whereas if you join a group of people who've been through that, been through your experience, very often the newbie is the one turns around and says their story, and then other people in the group are like, so did you date my ex? So get on it, have your sanity check, have someone that's guiding you through that process of court. Get yourself a group. So you'll need somewhere to vent. I'm telling you now, male or female, I don't care. You are going to need somewhere to vent because it is shit. It does feel shit. Is it fair that you have to resolve matters in a court scenario? Absolutely not. And I have to stop myself ranting about that. But it is shit. It is unfair. You know, there's no dressing up. So what we do is make sure that we help you through that. So there we are, guys. Those are my top 5 tips. Probably more tips coming your way because I could bleat on about this for every day, but I'm keeping it short. See what I did there. Guys, if you are going through family court, if you need help, if you need us to be the sanity check, then I want to hear from you. Have an amazing rest of your day. And before I go, I want to know from you, what's your top tip going through court? Let me know in the comments below. I want to know what's your top tip. Guys, on that note, have an amazing rest of your day and I'll check you later.